Hi, welcome back. This week we're back to drawing, back on the big easel and the Newcastle drawing. Hopefully if you watched last week you enjoyed the rugby and sport photography video. It's a bit different. I know I don't do too many of those. Like I said last week, there are people that follow this channel just for the sports photography stuff, and then there's people that just follow along for the drawing stuff, and then there's others that just you're just nice and you just follow along for any old nonsense that happens. Anyway, we're back on the drawing this week, and if you haven't already, I did the first of what is going to be a 3-part how to draw the Marmite drawing. So have a look at that and have a go at drawing along with it. It's not difficult. I'm trying to get better at explaining how to draw, so hopefully that'll help, and hopefully it's also not too tricky anyway to follow along. Anyway, this week we're back on the Newcastle drawing. So notably, since last time, had I done this bit? Had I done the blue bit, the pillar? Maybe, I can't remember. Last time I've done the building detail on the inside of the pillar down there. See me in a bit. I've done the brickwork, I've done this shed sort of area and this garage area, which I actually quite like doing. It's got like a little drawing in a drawing. The actual shed or covering or smoking area, it probably is for this bar maybe, I don't know, has got sunflower mural spray painted on it, so it was quite fun to do a little drawing in a drawing there. There is some like lattice almost fencing. I'm guessing this is like a bin area, but there we go. I haven't put in the actual reference images, there are little bins. I've not put them in. I've just left it as the wooden fence. This I will probably work into this a little bit more, just maybe add a bit more shade into it later down the line. I'm perfectly happy with it as it is, but I think it'll probably just need a bit more depth added into it. Here in the wall, initially I didn't shade in these sort of brick patches. I just I did it all as sort of grey with some shading in it, and then it just felt really flat. And I just added these little, I've just gone in and done little sort of a little bit of brickwork, patchwork in it. Because if you look at the actual bricks, they're different shades of red. So I've just sort of tried to reflect that without drawing every individual brick. I think if I'd drawn every individual brick, it'd have probably looked a bit weird. So I've just tried to sort of hint at there being bricks in here. I don't know, I might rework that a bit later on. I'm happy with it for now, but later on I might add a little bit more. I might shade it a bit more. I've not decided. So one of the issues I've been having on this part of the drawing is, well, I started on this bottom bit and then I've moved up to the next floor. And one of the issues I'm having is that so up on this second floor, the windows are quite sunken into the building. So whereas here, there's a sort of protruding pillar. The window is just sort of sitting slightly in the buildings. Not too sunken in, and then the floor above, the pillar is still protruding slightly, but the window is much further set into the building, and I don't know why, but I'm really struggling to get my head around it. So if you look on the reference image, I think it's because we've got, where are we? Over here. We've got, so you can see we've got quite a thick window frame, and then there's quite a large amount of stone going into the building, and then the pillar is here, so there's quite a lot of material before you even get to the window. and I'm just struggling to get my head around it. And I can see what it is. I can see what I need to do, but I'm just sort of, when it's actually coming to putting the marks down, there's something holding me back a little bit. And I don't really know what it is. I think it's because when I've initially put like the outlines down, I've done them a little bit off, and I've not accounted for how inserted into the building the window is, like how set back it is. So I've had to remap this area quite a lot, and I think it's just set me back a little bit. Another part I'm struggling with is that this building it's at a diagonal to where I'm stood, which makes it a little bit more challenging to draw. And because of how tall it is and where I'm stood taking the photograph, it also has the optical illusion of sort of leaning over a little bit. So it's kind of it kind of feels like it's growing towards me and upwards. So it's a very strange angle to draw. So these lines, it should be a little bit wider here than it is over here. You can't see that. So it should be a little bit wider here than it is over here. But if you do it too much, then it looks really odd. So I'm just sort of having to grow it as I'm drawing it, rather than do the angles really obviously as I'm mapping it in. So it is a bit of an unexpectedly challenging part of the drawing. To be honest, I kind of just thought, oh great, 6 big windows or whatever it is, that's going to be fine. But it's not. It's actually like, there's obviously a lot of detail in this part around the pillars and some of the brickwork, and I knew that was going to take some time. But I've probably been sat here for about 2 hours, just sort of mapping out these lines really slowly, trying to figure out exactly where they go, and then rubbing stuff out and then putting it back in. And I don't normally rub stuff out. I'll normally just sort of crack on with it and see, and like eventually it'll work out. So I'm not really sure how long this is going to take me. I'm feeling a bit better about how I've mapped this bit out now, and I think once I get in there with a darker pencil and start really committing to some of the areas, I think it'll get better. So I'm going to do a little bit more work on this area over here, and keep working my way up, and I'll let you watch along for a little while, and I'll try and remember to explain some stuff or share some thoughts with you as I'm doing it, but I can't promise anything. I'll be honest with you, once I'm thinking about it, that's pretty much all I'm thinking about. So we'll see. Anyway, you can watch along for a bit, and then that's it. So I'm just putting this sheet over here because it then I can rest my hand on it without smudging what I've already drawn. So I just mask and tape it down, and that way I'm not just going to rub what I've already drawn off and rub it everywhere else. I'm going to try not to put the masking tape on the drawing, put it either side of it, and then don't need it up too tight, it's just enough to rest your hand on. Okay, so I've got to a point, I'm making a bit of progress. I'm still not 100% happy with it, but I think it's gonna, I think I'm just gonna have to keep playing around with this. I'll take this off so you can see, to give you context. Yeah. So, I stepped away from it for a little while because I felt like I wasn't quite getting the depth in there. I think it's getting there now. This, I think, is just going to take quite a lot of layers and quite a lot of messing around with to get it right. These frames make it a little bit tricky because they're quite dark. They're really dark green. In fact, yeah, I think they're really dark green. They certainly are in my image. And that is making it a bit trickier to then be able to show the depth in it. So it is just a case of it's just going to be a case of layering until it's right. But yeah, I'm going to leave that there for this week. Again, if you want updates throughout the week, I post them on my TikTok and on my Instagram at Rachel J Harvey Art. Will was in the background. and yeah, post them on there. And please do check out the drawing video if you're interested in learning how to start shading and layering and getting started drawing. The first video we sort of talk about how scary it is to start drawing a picture sometimes and knowing where to start. So I try and break it down a little bit and put it in simple steps. And then, so the first video is just drawing out the object. And then the video this week for the Marmite drawing is going to be a bit more on adding in detail and shading. And then the final video will be like all the final details, putting in the layers, etc. It's only half an hour. So if it takes you longer than half an hour to draw it, the first part, that is fine. Don't forget, I've been doing this for a good while and I draw every day, so I'm pretty quick at it. But yeah, if you have a go at that video, then let me know and let me know what you think of it, and also share your progress with me. Anyway, right, I'm going to leave you there for now. We're back next Monday. I'm not sure what with, but have a nice week and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.